Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to Dela's Voice. Today marks the second year of Dela's Voice being live, and I'm so excited. Honestly, I have no idea where the past 2 years have gone. Through the past 2 years, I have interviewed um, more than a couple of hundred people. It's amazing. I've met incredible individuals with inspiring stories. I have learned so much. Above all, I have learned that every single step of the way, we got to keep growing. We got to keep changing if we are going to make the most out of this life. We cannot stand still. So, on the second anniversary of Dela's Voice, I decided to go solo. I know. Candid conversations with Dela. It is a very difficult step for me. I think into something new, a new experience, which means that you are going to see me vulnerable. It's scary. It's scary to step out of one's comfort zone. It's scary to be vulnerable. So here we go. This is a new journey for me. Uh, convers- Candid conversations with Dela. We are going to start this together, um, which means that there will be no guest on today's show. And uh, the viewer, is going to participate. You can call into the show by using our WhatsApp number. I'm going to display that on here. Um, this is going to be quite different, right? So here's my WhatsApp number. You can use that to call the show and, participate with your comments, with your experience. And this will be quite interactive, I think. When I started Della's Voice 2 years ago, it was really just an idea. And a lot of people helped me take off with this idea and actually realize it. Actually, someone's calling right now. Let's see who's calling. Thank you for calling Candid Conversations with Dela. This is Dela.
Hello, Miss Della.
Well, isn't it Deborah? How are you, my dear?
I am so proud of what you are doing, stepping out of that box into something new. You are such an inspiration, my friend.
Thank you. It's hard. It's hard to step out of the comfort zone. You've been doing something. I've been doing Della's Voice the same format for 2 years. Always having a guest on the show. I think it's just I've been relying on the guest to do most of the talking. So this is totally new, girlfriend.
Oh, I can imagine. But the thing is like I told you earlier when we were chatting, I love hearing your side, your journey, your experiences, because you touch more people. You're the one that touched me, not your guests, when I met you, you know?
I
So I think it's going to be amazing.
I appreciate you, Deborah. Thank you so much for this. I know you're always encouraging. You're always so, you're amazing. You're wonderful. You know how much I like you, and I always follow you. Thank you so much for being on here today.
Well, you are absolutely welcome. I have shared this out. I've invited a bunch of people, and let's hope we can blow up your first day as a soloist.
Thank you. Deborah said to me, I'm confused. What are you doing?
I wasn't understanding that you were just going to kind of go solo. I didn't know if you were going to do that like once a month or something. But I love this idea
Thank you.
because then when you have a special guest, you bring them on,
Yes,
you
yes,
know?
yes. And you know what? We're always looking for inspirational stories. How wonderful it is to be able to find those speakers who have those amazing stories and they are willing to share their stories with you. So those are always welcome, right? Always
Look,
welcome.
Absolutely, absolutely. But there's so many times that you would have a guest on, and I would hear bits and pieces of things about you that I didn't know yet. And this is so cool for me to think that we're going to get to know you,
Ah,
who Della.
thank you.
So I really, really love this idea for you. And
Thank
and
you.
I won't hog up the whole conversation. I just wanted to be the first one to say
Thank
congratulations.
you.
I love you.
I love
Proud of you.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much. Thanks for calling in.
And I'll watch the show now. Bye. I love you, hon.
Bye. Love you. Bye. Oh, this is amazing. So, okay, good. So I just want to make sure that you all heard Deborah as she called into the show. Sometimes technical difficulties do happen, and you never know. I did test this platform before the show started, and I want to make sure that you just heard Deborah on the phone. So drop me a line so that I could see that you heard her. So thank you so much, Deborah. Yeah. So this idea of Della's voice started. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you. Because I was going through a whole bunch of transformation. My journey of self discovery started about 4 years ago, and I had an awakening of some sort. You could say it was like a slap across the face of my higher power telling me, Della, stop wasting your time and start living the life that you've always wanted to live. So my awakening started, and the first thing I did is I had no idea what I was doing. I hired a coach. And one of the first things that I learned about myself was that I needed to start looking deep. And there was so much inside of myself that I loved, but there was also so many things that I wanted to change. There was so much in me that I needed to change. And so part of a big part of my growth and recovery has been to be able to find the real happiness, the real joy in my life. And, you know, if I spent 45 years of my life looking outside of myself for the joy, that's when I started looking deep into myself and realizing that the real joy was really right here and nowhere else to be found. And therefore, I stopped holding other people responsible for my happiness. I don't know about you, but I think that has been a big discovery for me. And so, you know, thank you so much, everybody who's on here. I'm going to go through the names, and oh my gosh, I want to thank most of you for actually. I think I have interview. I had I have interviewed most of you. Let me see here. Aaron, oh, thank you, Aaron. Aaron from Stroke TV Media. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, yes, Deborah too. I have interviewed both of them. Um, I've got, as usual, my mama. My mama, she's my number one cheerleader, my number one fan, who's always the first one watching the show. I want to thank you for being here and for always telling me that I could be the best at anything I started doing. And I think part of the reason why I have been able to step out of my comfort zone so many times has been because of you, Mama. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've got Maymuna here. Thank you, Maymuna. I've had an opportunity to work with Maymuna last year. Thank you so much on her summit. Thanks for being here. Muhammad, Arif, thank you so much. As always, you're always such a blessing. And Colleen, my wonderful butterfly sisters here. Thank you so much. Also, I have interviewed Colleen. Fazal Mahmood, thank you so much for being here. Keep it up. He says, you are amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Jennifer's here. She's here. Katie, my girl. Katie has had an immense impact on my life. when I really needed uh, her help. And you know what? All these stories are in my book. So I would really appreciate you ordering my book, Enjoin Us. That's my transformational story. Everything about my life is in here. Um, and Enjoin Us, you can find that anywhere books are sold. So thank you, Katie, for being here. Alan Wade, wonderful Alan Wade. I've interviewed Alan a couple of times actually. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for giving me your time. Annie Hardock, the boss, she's here too. Also interviewed Annie. Great story. Thank you. Marianne Pageant, love you, girl. Uh, Marianne is awesome. I've also interviewed Marianne. All these amazing people who are here. Oh my gosh, I really appreciate having you all on here. Beverly, thank you as always. Ben Powell, oh my goodness, thank you so much, all of you for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. As I turned my attention inward, trying to find out really how I could start living my best life. I found that with every step of the way, I became more stronger and more confident in my abilities. And I thought I could start Della's Voice as a series of vlogs where I could speak to my a few audience that were willing to listen to me and tell them about my story, my life story, what I was going through, my feelings, my thoughts, and really it was just it was fun to make those videos. They were very amateur. I used to hold. I would say I used to hold my phone like this close to my face while I recorded them. And then I would spend the next 2 hours editing to make a 5-10 minute video. Needless to say that that took a long time to make, and but it was such a great um, experience for me, powerful, vulnerable, because it was raw and I was putting myself out there, and slowly I noticed that people were commenting on these videos and telling me, "Oh, Della, me too. Like that's exactly how I feel." And so, with time, I think I realized that I really like to be in front of the camera. I really like to be speaking to people. And I started Della's Voice on the premise that every single person has a story to share. And collectively, if we start sharing our experiences with each other, we can help each other in our in life. And so I started inviting wonderful guests on the show. The very first show was amazing because it was just like it was actually done on October 15th, 2019, and we had I had so much help from, this is my shout out, Guillaume Macmartin. He was there with me every single step of the way. He helped me take this off. He helped paint this picture for me of Della's Voice. I will never forget you, my friend. Thank you so much. And so many other people that helped me along the way. Um, and I think one of the biggest lessons for me in this journey has been to trust my intuition. And so, if you agree with me, please let me know. Trusting your intuition, trusting your, I want to say, my gut feeling, but it's more than that. I think I've learned to trust my higher power, my inner, really my inner voice to help me along the way and let me know what's the next best step to take would be. And so, my friends, if I'm sitting here right now across from you and talking directly to you, it's because I've trusted that intuition, and here I am 2 years later. Dela's voice is still going strong. I have not. Okay, maybe I've missed a couple of Sundays only because uh, it couldn't be helped. But otherwise, I have been here. I have been here. I have been here, and I'm still here. And I intend to stay on. So here we go. As what is Colleen say? Yes, as Oprah says, your gut always knows what's best for you. It's true, right? It's so true. So I'm going to kick off this candid conversation right now, and we are talking about addictions. So I'm going to put up. Um, the banners so that if you're just arriving, you know what we're talking about addictions. Um, the only reason I'm talking about this is because I've had lived experience. A while ago, I have put out a post on social media. Is there anyone who has, who's willing to talk about their own inspiring stories on addiction? And unfortunately, I did not get any volunteers. And so, because I have lived experience with this topic, I just thought, you know what? I'm going to go on there. And I think this was the inspiration, right? We need to be talking about things like this. We need to be bringing forth information that we have, but also the experience that we have lived so that other people can learn from our experience. Other people can hopefully get inspired by our experience and get motivated to change. I heard this from someone. Unless there's extreme discomfort, you are not going to want to change, right? Motivation is just that it has to be an extreme discomfort in order to bring forth change. And without hope, well, why even try? So here I am sitting right here. If you know someone who has dealings with addiction, who is struggling, please share this talk with them because I'm here to offer you my experience and some hope, some hope. My own struggles with addiction to marijuana started when I was in my mid 30s. So um, I was really busy working, you know, working long hours. I had just started my own business, and it was very demanding. And I spent a lot of hours at work, and so it marijuana came into my experience, and I think I wanted to use it as a temporary relief. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate you. Um, you're one of the reasons I'm here. So thank you very much. So I used marijuana as a way to um, hmm, hide the real feelings I had. So what sort of feelings did I have? Feelings of insecurity, feelings of not being enough, feelings of wanting to get validation, feelings of real, you know, unhappiness. I told you, you know, I was looking for happiness outside of myself. That I was looking to other people to get that feeling. So I used marijuana to as a crutch to hide my real feelings because I was afraid to face those feelings. Maybe I was tired to face those feelings. And so every time I smoked, um, I forgot all about those feelings. all of a sudden it didn't matter anymore. What started out as a recreational um, drug slowly became an addiction. And what started off as, oh, this is just one puff, all of a sudden it became something that I needed to do um, every day. And at the end of the 10th year, it was something I needed to do a few times a day. Um, so back then, if you'd asked me, Della, do you have a problem with addiction? I would say nonsense. Marijuana is not addictive. Are you crazy? And that's what I heard. Because every single person around me who smoked pot said, "Nah, that's just that's just natural. Nobody gets addictive. Nobody gets addicted to marijuana." And so I went with that because it worked for me, right? And so if people around me who really knew me, um, if they confronted me with questions like, "How much do you smoke?" Um, I'd probably first of all get really defensive. I would lie. I would pretend that it was less than it actually was. I would hide. Um, I would be more comfortable with people who smoked marijuana. So I'd want to associate with those kinds of people. Um, I would be very secretive and I would be in real denial. Now, you might be someone who smokes marijuana. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I am just telling you my experience. Because there's a lot of talk right now, as uh, you know, uh, we are legalizing this shit, and I want to say um, that is dangerous. So, but do you, right? Whatever works for you. I'm just giving you my experience. And I'm willing to share this with anyone who's willing to listen. Because I suffered for 10 years and I don't want anyone else to suffer. Is that fair? So, um, by the way, if you want to call into the show, you can do that at any time. If you want to share your experience, I've got WhatsApp number right there for you. I just want to make sure that I catch whoever's calling me. And so, yes. All right. So there's the number right there. So, anyways, so this kept going for 10 years, okay? So I wanna give you some of my experiences, okay? Alright, so one day, um, I was in my bathroom, um, I climbed on the toilet because I wanted the smoke to be sucked up by the, whatchamacallit? The what do you call that? The ventilator? What do you call that thing? I think that's what it's called. And, I, I oh my gosh, it was slippery, and I was so, um, adamant that I needed that high that I, slipped and I fell. And I will never forget that feeling, that desperation I felt that day. And it was really, really shameful. It was embarrassing to myself. Um, but my urge to smoke, my urge for the high was stronger than the shame. And so it kept going. There was so many things I wanted to do in life. So many things. You know, I had all these dreams. I wanted to accomplish all these things in my life. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to be a motivational speaker. I wanted to impact lives. I wanted to make something um, out of my life. And I had all these ideas, and I would be so keen on making them happen. And then I would say, ah, let me have a smoke, and then I'll get to it. Only after that smoke, nothing else mattered. Nothing was that important anymore. And so it kept going. 10 years is a long time, my friend. 10 years is a very long time. So, um, thank you, Deborah. Just thank you for being so honest and real about this hard topic. It is a it is a hard topic. And but it's one that I'm really, really serious about. And you know, I want people to know. I want people to know that before you know it, um 10 years have passed by. 10 years. So um I remember one time I had smoked in the bathroom, and because I was hiding, right? And it's funny how we're in denial and we think other people are blind or stupid, or they just plain can't smell things. So I had been in the bathroom, and I had smoked, and then I was taking a shower. And my son, back then he was like 15 or something like that. He came into the bathroom. He was gonna ask me something, and he said, "Mom, uh, why does it smell like pot here?" And what do you say to a 15-year-old? I said nothing. Like, I said nothing. I absolutely kept quiet. And he asked again, "Mom, why are you smoking pot?" And at that moment, um, this I don't know, this wave of shame um just overtook me. And I was like, what am I supposed to say to my 15-year-old? Why am I smoking pot? What is that what does that do for me? And I think that's the number one question that um needs to be asked of oneself. What does this do for me? And so the answer to that question for me was the determining factor of whether I needed marijuana or not. Because the fact of the matter was that I smoked marijuana to prevent dealing with my real feelings. And so at that moment, I knew that. I can't tell you that quitting marijuana was an easy thing to do, because every night I wanted to quit. I didn't like how it felt. I didn't like having to rely on the pot to be happy, to relax, to have energy, to have fun, to socialize, to be creative, to I said relax, to um, to think, to not to think. So I was tired of that, and let me tell you that when you are uh, afraid that your stash is going to end, and the the biggest issue on your mind is, how am I going to find my next batch, or let me get my next batch because this is going to finish. That's when you know that you are addicted. um Now I know a lot of people who smoke marijuana recreationally, and they couldn't care less whether they had some or not. If, I don't know, if there's like, if there was a party and the smoke was going around, they may have a drag, but if they don't have it, they don't care. That's not what I'm talking about. If you are worried that your stash is going to end soon and you need to get your hands on the next stash, then there's a problem. You need to be aware of that. I'm just saying. Um, so every night I quit. In my mind, every night was my last smoke, and then the next day would come, and I'd be devastated by the thought of not smoking, because I was afraid of how I was going to deal with my feelings, with life. Without pot, life was scary to me. And so it had to end. My realization came to me that I was addicted. I think most people who are addicted, they know it. I think you know it deep down inside. And when people around you tell you, you may get defensive and you may put up a wall and you don't want to admit it, but to yourself, in your own privacy, you know. And so that was the moment. I think the first step for me was the admission that I was in deep trouble, and I needed to end it. So um, when I realized that, I not only admitted it to myself, but the next um, biggest step for me was to admit it to other people. And so by admitting it to other people, um, I got myself accountable. And so I'm not. Oh my! That's not an easy step. I tell you, it is not, because um, I don't know if you know smokers, like cigarette smokers, and sometimes it's hard. That nicotine withdrawal is hard. But cigarette smokers quit and they want to announce it to the whole world because they are so um, proud of themselves, right? And you know that this is a hard thing to do, and by announcing it to the world, really you're celebrating. But other people keep you accountable, and so how many times will you say to other people, "I'm going to quit," and the next time they see you, you're still smoking, or you're still drinking, or whatever, you're still binging, or whatever it is that your addiction is, because there's lots of addictions, you know, if we are going to be honest with ourselves. And so by keeping yourself committed and accountable to other people, then that's really an extra push, right? Because I needed that. I needed that accountability. But most of all, I needed to be accountable to myself because in my own solitude, I needed to be okay with myself. Um, I no longer wanted to lie to myself, um, because I could have lied to other people, but I didn't want to lie to myself. I knew. So the day I decided to quit pot, I announced it to a big group of people. I was in the middle of a workshop, of a self development workshop, and I stood up and I said, I have been smoking pot for the past 10 years, and this is it. I'm done. I'm quitting. And that was that was hard. That was really hard. But that was what I needed because I knew that that was going to keep me um, keep that promise to myself. Um, so admission is the first step, right? But sometimes just admitting it to yourself and admitting it to other people is not enough. I learned something at my in my journey um, at Al-Anon through the 12 steps, and one of the big discoveries of my life has been to find my spirituality. And I don't know how big spirituality is in your life, but for me, spirituality is huge. And I needed to find that to give me that extra strength, that extra power. And so um, I have found the 12 steps really, really, really powerful in my life. Um, After I admitted that I needed help, I also asked for help. And so this is a very important part. Now, admitting is one thing, but asking for help from people who can actually help you is is very important. So I asked people that I knew would give me that unconditional love, but also the tough love. I asked them to keep me accountable. And I looked for replacement for my addiction. That's really super important because what is an addiction? Addiction is you get addicted to a substance or behavior because it gives you a reward. Temporary, yes, temporary reward. But the more you do it, you get used to getting that reward, so you keep doing it, right? It's the same thing with food. It's the same thing with um for some people it's shopping, for some people is gaming, for some people is gambling, right? You get that temporary reward. But the more you do it, the more you get used to it. It's a habit. It becomes a habit. So I needed to change that behavior with something else. So when I felt the urge to smoke pot, I needed to replace that with something else, but something that was also as um, I want to say as fulfilling. Not really, because smoking pot was not fulfilling. It seemed that way to me because I was addicted. So I started looking deep. I started learning about myself. I started discovering ways to bring more joy into my life. I started mindfulness practices. I started working out. I started learning, reading, listening to podcasts, really going deeper into what I needed, what my soul needed. And so that was a replacement for me. I needed to be fulfilled. so I wouldn't go towards pot because I knew relapse happens so easily. And people who have addictions, you know that it's not like you quit and then it's gone. No, because once an addict, always an addict. I mean that. It's really hard to believe this. It's really hard to admit this, but it's true. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. So relapses do happen. It's very easy to go into that again. So easy. So I needed to find replacement um, to fill that void. Um, and I did. Um, I found a lot of different replacements. And a big part of this journey is surrounding yourself with people who um, are not suffering with addiction. So this is, I want to say it a different way. People who have found um, the deeper meanings of life. Um, this platform, Dela's voice, allowed me to find strong people, to find those individuals who have risen above their struggles. And I found that inspiration on a daily basis. You got to look for them, right? You got to be open to them. But once you're open to them, they come into your life. Right now, with so much available to us on YouTube, on all sorts of social media. I mean, once you're open to that, it's like the universe sends them to you. Um, you keep seeing everything that you need to keep you in this journey. So that was really, really powerful for me to keep myself surrounded with people, with ideas that were strengthening me, fulfilling me, teaching me, and helping me get better and do better in life. That was really important. Surrounding myself with the people who believed in me. That was really important. And taking the next step, which was action, taking action steps, because no matter how much information you have, no matter how much motivational speaking you listen to, how many different positive podcasts you listen to, how many positive people you surround yourself with, unless you put those teachings into action, nothing will change in life. And so I needed to know that every time I had the urge to go back to pot, I needed to take a step towards the opposite. I needed to take a step towards something that would um, get rid of that urge, replace that urge. Um, and I needed to take a step towards strengthening myself, um, learning more. And one of the best ways for me to keep going has been this idea that impacting the world, impacting the people around me is um, the one thing that I've always had passion for. And everything I do, I want to do it because it will impact somebody else's life. And once once my mindset was there, let me do this to help other people, then it was easier to get rid of that urge. And so I think I found this passion, and it was like my savior. It was like um, a driving force for me. So, um, I want to give you this. I don't know if you know this, but 1 out of 16 people in America deals with some sort of addiction. So, if you're looking at the population of the United States, 'cause that statistics is based in the states. That's about 23 million adults that are dealing with some sort of addiction. There are staggering statistics um, about marijuana use, and I want to, I think, bring this awareness that if we put our head in the sand and pretend that nobody sees, we are only hurting ourselves. And so if you are finding that you're, you can see some of the signs of addiction, and I want to actually give you some of those signs. Okay. I found this online. I looked at many resources, and I found this one to be the one that really resonated with me. And so this is from newchoices.com, and New Choices tc.com. And some of the physical addictions, so there are different types of addiction, but some of the physical addictions that they have mentioned is to substances such as alcohol, tobacco, opioids, prescription drugs, cocaine, marijuana, amphetamines, hallucinogens, inhalants. These are some of the, I guess, most prevalent drugs, substances that are on there. Um, they're talking about um, behavior addictions too. So, not just substance, not just addictions to substances, but also behavioral addictions. And so these are some of the ones that I saw that I would mention. I mean, just for awareness. Some common behavioral addictions include food, sex, pornography, using computers or cell phones, playing video games, working, exercising, um, seeking pain, cutting, shopping, exercise, gambling. So, I mean, what is addiction? Think about that, right? So, anytime, to me, simple. To me, addiction is simple. Anytime you are trying to use something, a behavior or a substance, to relieve yourself of of a feeling, basically putting a band-aid. You might consider that as being an addiction. Just putting it out there. Um, some of us uh, can um, heal ourselves um, just by working on ourselves. I was one of those lucky ones. Um, but had I not become aware of my problem when I did, that could have turned into something even more serious. And at that point, I don't know how I would have been able to stop. I think it's really important to be aware. There, it's more difficult to stop somebody else, to affect somebody else's behavior. but it's easier to look at yourself and see where in life you are relying on something outside of yourself to give you that relief. So I want to encourage you to look at your own behaviors, your own tendencies before looking at other people obviously around you. But if there is someone in your life that you think that may be suffering, here are some signs of addiction. Okay. um, Significant time spent using substance or engaging in the behavior. um, Let me see here. Did you call me, girlfriend? I think you did. Let me call you back. Let's see if Deborah wanted to um, comment on something. So,
Let's see.
hi.
Never wanted to. Hey.
Hey, sorry, I missed this call.
Oh, that's okay. I wanted to call back only because this subject is really close to my heart. And I lived with an addict for many, many years. But the point I just wanted to make really quick is someone had asked the question is how do you handle someone who's going through that? And I just wanted to give my feedback on what I did wrong for so many, many years. And I might have been able to save this person if I had known, is that we never start with the enabling. Because once we turn our heads and act like they are doing something that's not that big, or we excuse the behavior, we allow them to fall deeper into that addiction. And I just wanted to answer that question because I could go on a whole rampage on how what a horrible enabler I was.
Mm. In retrospect, Deborah, what would you have done if you could do something different? What would you have done differently?
I would not have accepted the behavior just because I loved the person. I would not have believed things that was told to me over and over, even though I knew it was a lie. I turned my head away and I didn't want to bring it out in the light because it was like that elephant in the room, the shame, the embarrassment, trying to keep his reputation at bay, my reputation at bay. I would have blasted him on what was going on so he could have gotten help. I
Mm.
think I allowed it to go on because I protected it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out to the person that asked that question. My husband answered her, but I just, whew, just
Thank
touches me this.
Yes, of course, Debbie. Thank you. Sometimes, and you're right. We don't know what we don't know, and sometimes those we don't have boundaries, right? Sometimes we don't know how to detach ourselves from a situation like that, especially when you're so closely related to that person. And someone explained it to me like this, that un- so enabling would be like, let's say in the case of an alcoholic, your alcoholic comes home stumbling on into the house, and they fall down, and they're blasted, and they fall down right in the middle of the hallway. Enabling would be to lift them and help carry them into the
Yeah.
bedroom and then put them in the bed. And when they wake up in the next morning, they have no idea what happened. So they'll just keep doing it. And so
Yep.
someone said, instead, leave them where they are in the hallway and just maybe grab a blanket and put it on them.
Absolutely. 100%. And if somebody asks what happened, be honest. I used to say, "Oh well, he fell. Oh well, he stumbled, or the drawer hit him in the head." Or it was always my job to be the fixer. Don't be the fixer. Just don't be the fixer
Yes.
because you can't fix it. We
Mm,
can't fix addiction. And I loved your message because it was you that paid attention to your problem.
yes. Yes.
You you took a hold of that problem. Nobody could have helped you. Nobody could have fixed it for you. And
No.
by enabling, we prevent them from getting to that realization. And
Yes.
I just love I love this topic.
Thank you.
And we will chat again one day.
Thank you, Deborah. I love you. Thank you so much.
Love you. You take care.
Bye. Um, it touches us all. It does. Um, the statistics are staggering, and mm, I don't know about you, but I have a real problem with this whole legalization of pot. Um, and maybe that's a talk for another time where, I want to take your pulse. What do you think of this? Um, but I think we get hurt. And so um, that's another candid conversations. So I want I want to bring us back full circle to, um, to this. Nobody could have helped me. And Deborah is right. Nobody could have helped me. I could only help myself. Other people could help you, could have helped me by stopping to enable me. Um, but at the end of the day, I had no one to blame but myself. And it's time to take responsibility um, for our decisions, for our actions, for the way we hurt ourselves, but also the people around us. So it all comes back to personal responsibility. But it starts with awareness. And the awareness comes when you are open to learn. And so I want to encourage you to please, if something that was said in this talk today, uh, just maybe even sparked a little something, um, maybe look deeper. And if you think it might be helpful for someone else to look deeper, share this with them. And I'm open for these conversations, for anything that would help us live better, do better, be better, and help each other more. I'm always open for these conversations. I want to thank you for spending the past hour with me. Um, I was going to give you some signs, wasn't I? Um, we'll come back to this talk. Um, if you are looking for more information, there's plenty of information online. Um, be careful where you find your resources because not everything is reliable, but there is plenty of good resources online. This one I found really helpful was newchoicestc.com. And they have a lot of information there. Um, let me see here. Jack says, I have a good friend that is a functioning alcoholic. What can we do to help? Um, I found places like Al Anon really helpful for people who have lived experience with an alcoholic. So Al Anon is not for alcoholics. Al Anon is for people who have had an alcoholic in their life. So a spouse, a friend, brother, sister, or parent. And so I found Al Anon was really helpful in helping me. But also AA is a great resource. I think Colleen mentioned that. Yes, AA. Oh, no, okay. Colleen mentioned Al-Anon. Al-Anon, yes, is for you if you have a friend who is alcoholic. But if you yourself are suffering from alcohol, AA is a fantastic place. Um, uh, Narcotics Anonymous is great if you have substance abuse disorder. And so there's lots of resources. I do want to put up this resource. I really want to encourage looking into mental health because I find that every time there's a substance abuse, it stems from a mental health problem. It's something that needs to be considered. So if you live in Canada, Canadian Mental Health Association is a great organization. They're national. They have offices everywhere. But if you live anywhere in North America, just Google mental health, and you'll get lots of resources. Again, if you live in Canada, here's another resource. If you're thinking of suicide, please call this number and get some help. This is a fair question to ask. Okay, especially during hard times. It's normal to think about taking your own life. If um, you ask this question, you may just save someone's life. Have you ever thought about taking your own life? It's a fair question. It's not an easy question to ask, but the answer to that question is the difference between someone's life or death. So I wanted to put that out there. If there's anything you think I can help you with, please send me a message and we can chat. Um, I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for spending the past hour with me. I am looking forward to next candid conversations. If there's anything at all that you think might be interesting to discuss on candid conversations, drop me a line. And as always, this has been Dela's voice, hoping to spark your soul. Till next time.